everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're here to talk about episode 11 of Monster. It's pretty wild to me that one of the coolest fights we've actually seen during the entirety of this season in this show is actually a friendly match, or at least mostly friendly, let's assume the intent is friendly, between Ogrou and Ogrekichi. But I gotta say, that fight that they had, whether it was for spectators and fun or whether it was going full out, was an amazing, amazing fight with some really cool abilities shown off by both characters and some incredible growth for both characters in how it was used to actually enhance their story. Because one of the running themes of the show throughout has been the friendly rivalry between Ogrou and Ogrekichi, who always seem like they are truly, genuinely friends, but who also are not afraid to actively fight each other. They mix these aspects of the key aspect of competition between goblins or ogres with the friendship we would presume from humans in a beautiful way that actually makes for a really interesting dynamic, and it's on full display here. We see the distinction of which magics each of them are able to use. We see them going up in skill and up in skill and up in skill, testing each other, not wanting to do something that is too much for the other and just blow somebody away, wanting to have this fair and honorable fight and this real contest to see where each of them has actually grown and reached. And eventually, of course, we see that although Ogrou is smaller than Ogrekichi, when Ogrekichi gets really into the fight and he gets really into what he's doing, he actually gets carried away. And it's because Ogrou has such amazing control over his own abilities that he is able to actually protect others from the Ogrekichi who has lost himself to the fun of the battle, forgetting that there are spectators there who are not as strong as Ogrekichi or Ogrou who are in danger. And the thing is, this isn't actually out of meanness on the part of Ogrekichi. When Ogrekichi finds out that this is the case, when he realizes what has happened, we actually see tears in his eyes. I mean, remember, this is the big softy who was openly weeping at the funeral prior for people in a previous episode. This guy is not a bad guy, but this guy, when he gets into a fight, he gets into a fight, man, and he just wants to go. Because to him, it's not about being mean or cruel or anything. To him, it's playtime. And Ogrou knows that, and I love the fact that Ogrou is actually able to prevent anything lasting from happening and is capable of making sure of that, because if anything had happened to anybody, I am sure that Ogrekichi would have been absolutely devastated, because that's not something he would actually want. Even with these new powers and this new strength and everything, the person he is on the inside has clearly not changed. Both the rash and bold fighter and the kind-hearted softy that he is underneath all of that, and I thought that was really beautiful. We get the introduction of two more babies. The blacksmith and the alchemist have both had children by Ogrou at this point. We don't get all of the detail on them that we did with the last group, because we have the birthing of human ogre babies down to a fine science, and we actually get one ogre baby this time, and we actually get one human baby. And it was really cute just to see the warmth and love and everything that's going on. And I will clarify that this time for certain, they did tell us the girls' names. I don't remember them because I'm so bad with names, but they did say them here. And it's interesting to see that they only do seem to really get names, at least in the English. It might be different in the Japanese, once they've had a baby, which, whatever. There are so many characters in this show that I can understand why we don't see the names of them over and over again, because I think it would just confuse people. Now, I wonder, why is it that they actually bothered to bring out two more babies? Well, there were two things that went down where I think babies in general are super important. The first of these is this absolutely fluffy, heartfelt moment where, while in a shop, Ogrou and friends find something akin to a camera here on Earth. And we see images of Ogrou having bought the camera, going about and photographing his children as any proud papa would. And it was just the most sweet and wonderful and precious thing. It just absolutely warmed my heart. I love the family moments in this show. I love family moments in any show, because no matter how actiony a show is, and I've said this a billion times, the more family stuff that's mixed in at the correct amount and percent, the more that you care when somebody's fighting. And this show just absolutely nails it. And this moment was just so precious. Because, I mean, when's the last time you saw somebody photographing their babies in anime? It was super freaking cute. The other moment, which was a bit more serious and a bit more intense, actually focuses on the last character in our original trio, which, if you've forgotten, was Ogrou, Ogrekichi, and Gobmi. And this was about Gobmi, and it really broke my heart because Gobmi is really going through something here, man. Gobmi has not been successful in actually having one of Ogrou's babies, which is actually specifically something we saw her request in a previous episode. Gobmi has been actively trying. Gobmi really wants to be a mom, and she really wants to have a kid with Ogrou, and that just hasn't happened for her yet. And now other women are actually giving birth to his kids. Now, being an ogress and being of a culture where that aspect is normal, that part, as far as I know, does not specifically bother Gobmi. But the fact that they are succeeding at this where she is failing and he is still evolving where she hasn't moved, do both seem to be things that are genuinely bothering her. Now, I'm relieved to an extent that they didn't go too far into the idea of the difficulties of the reality that some women have trouble with childbirth and stuff like that, and with getting pregnant. And some women deal with like massive infertility. But it is clever that they used the stuff that they did use to highlight this without making it get too heavy and too bulky. And it was really interesting to see how each of the two friends, both Gobmi and Ogrekichi, I can't pronounce her other name properly, sorry guys, they both have this thing where they are kind of competing in a way. Not against each other, but each of them has something that they're striving toward. And both of them are, to an extent, having trouble. Now, I mean, without question, Ogrekichi has advanced beautifully in his new form and everything. And the backstory of how he and I think her name's Earthme or something, his girlfriend, actually like went into this dungeon and fought this thing, and it turns into Ogrou because it turns into like the most powerful thing Ogrekichi has ever fought. And that all goes down, and that's why for a moment Ogrou thinks he might die, or that there's a premonition. I thought it was really clever how they used that, because that's the kind of thing that would normally be used to do some kind of like death flag or something. But instead they turned it into this semi-amusing thing. And outside of the like pressure that Gobmi is feeling, which is on her own like accord, not something anyone's pushed on her, I mean, Ogrou actually does a really good job of reassuring her and stuff, which I thought was really beautiful. I thought the scene between the two of them was incredibly heartfelt, and I was much more like sold on it, and I much more bought into it than I actually imagined that I would. And that's really good, and that was really good like pacing and setup and everything. I thought that was really clever. As the episode wraps up and we are heading toward the final episode of the season, it seems like we are finally going to be reaching the capital city of the humans, and we're actually going to be like meeting people from the kingdom that our tomboy princess is from. It will be very interesting to see just how these people will deal with this large entourage of ogres and other demi-humans coming into their space, and it'll be interesting to see just what these guys are going to do with the fact that they've got like another 22 minutes or something to be able to tie this series up. I thought it was really interesting hearing the characters talk about the fact that they've been alive for 4 months now, which means, in relation to how long we've been following them, they've only really existed for a month more than the timeline we've been experiencing as viewers, which I thought was pretty cool. I hope that these guys can actually come up with something really interesting to tie everything together and to have this reach a satisfying conclusion. Ideally, of course, I would love another season of this, because this has been one of my favorite anime of the season and I've super enjoyed it. But regardless of that, I would really like to see some kind of solid wrap-up so that I can confidently recommend this to other viewers, because when I recommend an anime to somebody, it's very important that the first season of an anime be able to be consumed as a solid thing, regardless of whether future seasons will happen. Because not everyone's going to watch every season of an anime, and watching something and having it not have some form of completion can be incredibly frustrating. But we'll have to wait until next week to see exactly how that goes down. Anyway, I'd love to know what you guys thought of this episode, so feel free to leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye!